Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. Podcast is driven by Ridge Rock Hunt Company. I'll talk more about them later. You got both of your podcast hosts on here for this week's episode, myself and our Fall Obsession Vice President and our Northern podcast host, Drew Tordick. Welcome back, Drew.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Well, always a good time to get to sit down and hang out with you, man. It's always, I don't know, they're spread out enough that I can always say it's been a minute since we did it last. But want to take a little bit of time this week to catch up with you, see what's been going on in your world and hunting seasons up north and everything up there. And then also, I know we have some new listeners that have been tuning in with us this past couple months with Carbon TV platform and all that kind of stuff. So kind of wanted to give them a little bit of an introductory to Fall Obsession and some of the cool stuff that we're doing around here during these times. So I think a good one to start with, as far as some stuff that we're working on right now, some projects we got going, is one that you have kind of taken the lead on and put a lot of time into, and that is our BCE, or Best Christmas Ever fundraiser that we have going on this holiday season. So you want to give us just a brief outlook on that real quick?
Yeah. So Best Christmas Ever is a charity organization that was started here in northern Minnesota 11 years ago now. Their main goal is to provide a best Christmas experience for a family who's experienced some hard times due to no fault of their own. So, whether it's medical issues or death in the family, or anything else that really sets somebody back for the year where they might not have that opportunity to have a traditional Christmas, BCE steps in, provides gifts for the family, as well as what we call a life-changing donation or life-changing gift. Basically, it's a large value gift. It's kind of dependent on the family as far as what that covers, but it's a pretty awesome deal.
That's awesome. So what are we trying to do as Fall Obsession to contribute and be a part of this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So the family that we chose from Fall Obsession really connects with our goal of supporting veterans and also doing what we can to help with them. So this year we chose a family. It's a mom and 3 daughters who had a father that was a veteran, was experiencing some difficult PTSD symptoms, and the VA cut off his medical benefits for some reason or another. I'm not exactly sure on the details, and unfortunately he decided that it was too difficult of a thing for himself to deal with. And so now it's the mom and the 3 daughters that are facing this Christmas alone for the first time this year.
Yeah. So we as Fall Obsession, we're working, as you said, to raise those donations that you specified a few moments ago and everything. Where can folks go to help contribute to that, and what kind of timeline do they have to be involved in such?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have set up, it's called a Kindful donation page. We have the link posted on our website. We also have been sharing it on our social media pages as well. Basically, you go to that Kindful donation page. You can make a tax-deductible donation through BC itself. Fall Obsession isn't a charitable organization, so we can't offer that tax benefit. But in working with BCE, they're able to provide that benefit to anybody who wants to contribute. Additionally, we've set up an Amazon wish list for the family that has all of the gifts that we call them the nominator, but the person who suggested that this family get the help this year. So the nominator and myself have worked together to put together an Amazon wish list, and we have that link available as well.
Yeah. So like Drew said, go to our social media pages, our website, fallobsession.com. All those are locations where you guys can find the links to this donation page. And is there a minimum amount that people have to give, or?
No, there's no minimum amount at all. It will ask you if you want to leave a message and, say some positive notes, some positive words of encouragement. It'll also ask you if you want to cover the, I guess it's the fees associated with it. So, that's up to you. It's really no big deal. Whatever you choose to donate will really help the family out.
Yeah. And on there, I mean, you guys can see the kind of donations we've gotten, small, little, as small as like $10 and as much as several $100s. And, I don't want to turn this podcast into us asking for money or anything like that. It's not about that, but it's something that we're passionate about, as Drew has already said, and that we're trying to be involved in and give back to a community and a family specifically in need. So if you guys find it upon yourselves to help out with that this holiday season, and you want it to go to an insured good cause, then head on over to fallobsession.com or our social media pages, and we'll take you there and you can help out. So.
And that's not something that we benefit from besides like the charitable giving part of it. We're not seeing any of those donations. All of that goes directly to the family. So it's very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, let's get into some hunting talk. What has been going on up in Minnesota this year? Because we really haven't, I don't think we've really talked to you a whole lot since your season has been off and running for a while, as far as your hunting adventures and stuff out there. So what's it like up there at the moment?
Sure. So, in some of the past podcasts, we've talked about how we converted a bunch of agricultural land to that CRP. It's been awesome. We've seen so much more animal activity, whether it's pheasants, whether it's deer, even turkeys now are hanging out pretty frequently. So I've spent a lot of time in the stand, done a lot of pheasant hunting. This is by far the year, like the best year I've had in the stand as far as the number of deer I've seen, the number of deer I've actually passed on, just, knowing that there's bigger deer around and hoping I might get a chance at them. There's been days in the stand where I've seen 10, 15 deer, and in past years, that's all I would see in a season. So it's been really great. We've had the opportunity to have some family come in and do some pheasant hunting on that land. And, in the past that would have just been tilled up and just kind of black dirt and not worth hunting. We went out on that pheasant trip, and the first time through that field, I think we kicked out 16 pheasants from that one. It's got to be 65 acres, which we don't see those kind of numbers usually around there at all. That day they happened to be all hens, but opening day of deer season, I was sitting in my blind and looking at this tree, and all of a sudden I noticed there was roosters flying to it, and it started off with 2 of them in the tree, and the next thing you knew, I had 17 roosters in this tree 100 yards from me, which
wow.
I've never seen that before, and I got some pictures and some video of it, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. So have you filled any tags?
Yeah, I shot 2 doe. The first one was the last weekend of our gun season here, right in the middle of some snow that was coming down. Had seen quite a few deer. I'd really held off on shooting does up until that point, just in the hopes that they'd be attracting the bucks to the area. And that evening, a lone doe walked out, and she was pretty big, and so I decided to take her. And then actually last weekend, I was up there for our muzzleloader season and shot another doe. That one was good too. I had to take my truck into the body shop, got in a little accident, but while it was there, I've been borrowing my buddy's car. It's a Toyota Prius. And, you guys, if you follow us on social media, have probably seen the pictures, but actually had to put the doe on the roof of the Toyota Prius, and it happened to be the second one that the Fall Obsession staff had done that week. So, just by coincidence, we had 2 deer on top of Toyota Prius that week. So
I was going to address that because, like Drew said, if you've been following us, you will have seen this new trend that apparently, I don't know if we're starting it or jumping on it or what's going on here, but we, for whatever reason, the stars aligned and 2 of our guys had to put a deer on top of a Prius last week. So, and I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or not, but so you were one of them. Nick down here on Texas Dirt, he was the other one that put a deer on top of his Prius this last week. And I don't even remember if Nick talked about it on the Deer Camp podcast last week, but I'll hit on it real quick. He was the following day. No, he didn't, because this was the following day. he was leaving the property to head home after the morning hunt. My dad and I were staying to get one more hunt in before we headed home. And he was pulling out the front gate, and one of the oil well guys that frequently comes in to check on the oil well sites on the property, he was coming in. So at the gate, Nick rolled down his window and just to talk to him real quick. And guy looks at his car and he's like, "Hey man, are you the guy that was driving through town last night with a deer on top of your Prius?" And Nick's like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Oh man, you're famous in town." So apparently several people observed him going through town around 8 p.m. that night, going to the processor. And then later on, we discovered that the processor had actually taken a picture of that car and posted it on their Facebook page as well. So word was getting around that somebody was hunting in that area with a Toyota Prius. So
Yeah, I definitely got some looks on the drive home. For me, it's a 4-hour round trip. So the Prius, I guess, was pretty nice in saving some gas money on the multiple trips up there. But, leaving the property, I got a couple of guys that had been hunting that drove by that gave me the thumbs up. And then the more I got to the metro and the more I was in the city limits, those looks turned to a little bit more confusion and a little bit, people were really interested to see that. So that was kind of a funny experience. Showed up at the processor, and, even the processor here had something to say about it. He said, I think his exact comment was, "You're not married, are you?" Yeah, he said most people that have small cars like that are bringing them in the inside of the car in the trunk. But he said it made way more sense to not get blood and stuff in the car, to have it on top.
Yeah, why not? One or the other, man. Come on.
I got to tell you though, I am a little bit jealous of Nick. Seeing him lift that Texas deer up looked a lot easier than the 105, 110 pound deer that I had to lift up.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I mean, his deer was it was every bit of all there. It wasn't a baby for sure for a Texas whitetail. She was one of the bigger does actually that we've taken. Nick is just obviously that strong of a gentleman, so he he was able to handle it. But no, I think part of it too for him was a pride thing, because ever since he sold his truck over the summer and bought that Prius to save on some fuel mileage to and from work, and just with the market for pickup trucks, here recently, it was a good opportunity for him to move on from it. And ever since then at the firehouse, he's been getting a hard time, mainly about, hey, what are you gonna do come deer season when you're out there and you got a Toyota Prius? And he's been living up to it, like, hey man, I'm gonna make it work. And so I think part of that was the reason he was adamant on doing that was, hey, I gotta prove all those people at work wrong who said that I would be struggling. So
yeah, and the gas mileage is awesome. Filling up the tank for $10, $15 rather than $85-$90 for the truck, it's made a huge difference as far as the number of trips that I've been able to make this fall.
Oh yeah, I bought me a little commuter car over the summer as well to save me some money in fuel, because we moved this last summer farther away from my work, and it only took a couple trips to work in my diesel pickup that I was like, no, I can't keep doing this. I did not sell the truck though and buy a car. I kept the truck and bought a car, so I still got a pickup truck at least. But no, it's been fun. We got some cool little adventures and some content that's pretty humorous like that here recently, which is enjoyable for sure, to see that kind of stuff coming in. So I don't know, maybe somebody else will jump on the bandwagon, and or maybe it inspires somebody. Maybe somebody's like, hey, you know what? Those fall obsession guys were able to hunt with a Prius. I can go out there and get it done. I mean, as long as you can get to your stand, man, where there's a will, there's a way. So.
Yep. Just make sure you bring a couple ratchet straps, put them through the back windows. It seemed to hold fine, and I had a 2-hour drive home, so it didn't move at all. So
yeah, I mean, Nick's drive wasn't anything like that, but I was impressed, and I'm talking about him a lot for him not being on the podcast here with us. But when it came time to put that deer on top, he busted open the back end of that Prius and lifted up whatever secret compartment he's got back there, and there was ratchet straps and all sorts of tactical tools and everything that you need to survive in the wilderness. So he may be driving a Prius, but at least he's prepared for the apocalypse. So
yep.
So kind of moving on, you still have buck tags up there, or what's left of your season?
Yeah, so Minnesota works kind of in, I don't know if it's a weird way or a strange way, but we have all these different zones, and depending on what zone you're in, you're limited to anywhere from 1 to 5 deer. The statewide bag limit is 5 deer. It used to be unlimited if you shot them in the metro, but they recently, 2 years ago, switched that back to five only. So, I've shot two. I can still shoot a buck up at the farm if I want to, or anywhere else in the state. I've got technically three more deer that I could shoot. Our muzzleloader season ends on the 11th, so that'll be next Monday. It'll be over. And then for the rest of the year, it's archery only. So,
Gotcha. So you intend on spending some more time out there, or are you gonna be wrapping it up?
I'll probably spend some more time out there. We've seen some good deer movement the last couple weeks. They had kind of hunkered down following gun season, but they're kind of back on their feet now. The snow really has them out moving around, and we're supposed to get some more of it here soon. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, that's something that we don't normally have to deal with down here is the snow. It's actually been I'm ready for it to get cold and stay cold. We're getting these cold fronts and everything that come through, but then it just warms right back up. So like last week it was cold toward the end of the week, and then over the weekend it got back up into the mid 70s as the high every day, and now starting today it's starting to drop back down. But then after next weekend, there's going to be a spike again, which thankfully it's after the weekend because we have our veteran hunt coming up this upcoming weekend at the time of recording here. So we'll at least have some cooler weather for that. But I'm ready for it to get cold and stay cold because Texas is bipolar when it comes to weather. So
yeah, I've been there. I was surprised how cold it was when we were there. I was expecting it to be Texas, and every other time I've been there, it was nice and warm. And that one trip that we had, that staff hunt, was pretty cold that week.
Yeah, it'll get to a point where it gets down there, and I'm ready for it just at this point because it seems like every time that I've gotten to get out and hunt has been when it's been warm, which is obviously a time when the deer activity is at an all-time low. And it's kind of funny because I hunt on Texas dirt with Nick, and both of our dads are on the lease as well, and my dad will go out there pretty much every time that I go out there and hunt. But then I'll come back, I got to go back to work, and my dad, he's done it twice to me this season already. He'll send me a text and he'll be like, well, you may have to go back to work, but I'm self-employed, so I'm going back out there while it's cold. And every time he's done that, he's gone out there and killed deer. So he's got one more in the freezer than I do this year already. So he's been doing pretty good.
Yeah. So that veteran hunt, that's a pretty exciting deal. I think this year we saw way more applications than we have in the past. It was actually a pretty difficult decision to make this year. We had a lot of people that really stuck out, a lot of great stories. It was difficult to choose. And I know that that's not an easy process for us normally, but it was even more difficult this year with the number of applicants and the number of good stories that we had come in.
Yeah, it was a challenging decision this year for sure. So backing up just a little bit for anybody who might be in that group of new listeners for Fall Obsession, this is the second year now that we've been able to do it, and we wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for Waylon Langford, who's the hunt host, who's actually providing the property for us to be able to host this hunt on. But we call it our veteran hunt giveaway that we've done 2 years in a row now, where it's almost like an application / nomination that you fill out, either for yourself or if you know a veteran who you believe is deserving of a hunt like this, a whitetail hunt in Texas, that is. You can fill it out and nominate them and everything. So the nominations closed last month, and we selected our winner. As Drew said, it was a very, very difficult decision because there's so many people that just stood out and that are doing good things for veterans or their local community, or that we want to take on a hunt like this. We wish we could take all of them, we really do, but only can take one. So when it came, and even Waylon, I was talking to him the other day, and he boiled it down for me. He's like, man, even when we narrowed it down to our top candidates, for the final decision, he goes, and everything, he goes, I had a hard time picking, he said, because everything was just, they were all deserving of something like this in his mind and everything. So But at the end of the day, Mr. Mike Demshock is our winner for this year, and he's going to be joining us actually day after tomorrow. At the time of recording this podcast is when I'll be picking him up, and we'll be heading out there for our Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend hunt. And what you guys as our listeners have to look forward to is, at least right now, it's my intention that over this weekend I'm going to record a podcast with him and Waylon, our hunt host, in deer camp. So next week's podcast episode you guys will get to listen to is actually going to be from that hunt with those gentlemen, talking about not only that experience, but also Mike and kind of his experience as a veteran. And then one thing that he has done is done a lot of work to help other veterans with their VA process and benefits and stuff like that, which is really, really awesome. So more to come on that, and a lot of content coming in the next month to our pages around this hunt, around Mr. Mike, and I'm looking forward to sharing a camp with him. I know last year when we took last year's winner Mark Zorich out there, it was an incredible weekend. And honestly, I've said this on the podcast, and I've said this to Mark before too, I didn't know what to expect last year because it was the first year we were doing it. You know, it's always kind of nerve-wracking when you're doing something for the first time in a hunting environment like that, and then you're hunting with somebody you've never even met before. You don't really know what to expect, but Mark and I last year had a 3-hour drive out to the property from the airport, and we had a lot of time to talk and get to know each other and everything, and it ended up being just absolutely an incredible weekend. You guys can go back and watch the video from last year's hunt on our My Obsession series. It's episode 1. Mark actually kicked off that My Obsession series that we're running right now with that episode, and then I think it's podcast 90, I want to say, was our episode from last year where we recapped that hunt with Mark. Unfortunately, didn't get it in deer camp, but I followed up with him later, and we recorded an awesome podcast on that. So that's something I'm looking forward to also, because the in-person podcast, sitting down with somebody face-to-face, one-on-one, that's my favorite way of recording and, you know, producing this kind of content. So I'm looking forward to actually doing that, like I said, in deer camp this time with these gentlemen. So
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it, but you know, that was one thing that impressed me the most. I mean, we obviously are very appreciative of all of the service that the veterans have put in, but this year's group, especially the number of applicants that came in that were involved in helping other veterans, was so impressive to me. That, I mean, that was pretty eye-opening. It's such a self-supporting community. I think that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. This is something I know after last year, there was a little bit of uncertainty and question on if we'd be able to do it again, and if so, where. And very grateful again for Waylon and the opportunity to host that again down here in Texas. But I think especially after seeing those applicants and seeing the nominations for the gentlemen that were in the running this year, this is something that we at Fall Obsession are going to strive to do every year, whether it's down here in Texas or at an alternate location, whatever the case might be. Because again, for us, hunting is more than just being a media production company and producing our own content. There's so many opportunities that we are trying to take advantage of to give back to communities, veterans, those who have served, and that sort of thing. And this is one big way that we've found a love for doing it, if you will, through the form of a whitetail hunt. So mark your calendars for next fall, because whether it's down here in Texas or somewhere else, we are going to make it a point to try and do this every single year. So if you missed the boat this year, or even if you nominated somebody and your nomination was not the one chosen, then apply next year, man. There's going to be more opportunities, and I'm excited for it. So
yeah. And you mentioned there's going to be more opportunities and more locations. I mean, this is something I feel comfortable talking about now. I've cleared it with, you know, all my uncles and the ownership group back at the farm, and you know, it's something that they're open and receptive to opening up the farm in Minnesota as well for another veteran hunt. So whether that's something that we do in conjunction with the Texas hunt, or in addition to it, or as a standalone thing, I think that's something that we're going to open up next year as well. So
yeah, so plenty of room to expand, and we'll also be probably before next year trying to, on the preparation side, maybe work with some more companies in the industry to to make this hunt all that we can. So, yeah, more to come on that aspect. Stay tuned. So it's a good thing that we got going, and I'm looking forward, as I've already said, to this upcoming weekend and being back in veteran hunt camp. It'll be fun. So, man, what else you got? It seems like we've been pretty busy over here at Fall Obsession with a bunch of stuff that we got going on. Obviously, our podcast is a thing that keeps on chugging along, but our staff is knocking down deer left and right. I know we talked about that with Todd, our staff manager, a few podcast episodes ago, but what else we got going on around here right now?
So I know that we got some staffers who are getting excited about a crane hunt down in Texas.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm really excited. We got some pheasant hunts coming up here in Minnesota. Also, after the first of the year is usually when I start guiding and going to the game farm here, doing that kind of work. And, I'm excited for that season. That's usually for me, January through May, I guess April. So get out and do a lot of pheasant hunting then and connect with some pretty great people doing that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that pheasant hunt's something that I know you're pretty passionate about, and that you seem to put a lot of effort into every year. So it's always awesome to see the results from that. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. We got Todd and Heather Sellen coming in from Michigan this year. They're coming up to Minnesota. It's going to be the last week of the season here. So the birds have kind of seen every trick in the book at that point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a little tougher hunt, but I'm really excited. They've got a dog who's never been on wild birds. So, it'll be cool to get them out and put them on.
That'd be fun, man. You talk about two people that are some of the most obsessed people I have with hunting and everything involved. Those two are committed, and I admire their ability to just be able to, hey, let's go hunt with Drew or Todd this summer. Hey, when can I come down there, shoot a pig? Or he wanted to come down here just to meet me, hang out, and record podcasts and stuff. And the pig hunt ended up being a bonus, but still, they will pack up and go for anything hunting, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. I'm always impressed with the number of times that they send out pictures. We've got a group text between all the staffers, and the number of days that they're out hunting and out in the outdoors, and even some of the other conversations related to hunting that go on. They're always involved and always thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's awesome to see. So I love seeing that drive from our staff, and I always compliment the Midwestern crew out there for their involvement with Fall Obsession and everything. So we always see some good content. And again, kind of throwing this out here for new podcast listeners, but we have all these staff members across the country in pro or field staff capacities, and they're part of what drives a lot of content on our pages. We try to give these folks the opportunity to produce content relevant to their areas, which in turn are your areas where you guys hunt. So that's a big part of our platform at Fall Obsession is having content in all of these different avenues and all these different from all of these different places relevant to the areas that you hunt and the animals that you hunt. So allows us to have that kind of diversity on our pages, because I'm from Texas. I've hunted outside of the state of Texas twice in my life. So I can't provide a lot of knowledge in a lot of areas. So it's always good to have those experts in those different regions. So, yeah,
and for all the people who are coming into this podcast kind of new from the Carbon TV app, it's something that we are always kind of looking for new staff members, especially, we're looking to fill out that Western region, especially the Northwestern region. It'd be awesome to have a few more people from there. So if you're listening from there and love hunting as much as we do, we've got an application process on our website that you can go check out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're to drive that point home. Our regions are divided. We've split up our country, if you will, into 5 different regions. The Western being kind of the Rocky Mountain line and everything pushing west of that, and we really want, again, these content creators in those areas to bring that value and that experience to our pages and everything. And we've brought structure in our own company to have a coordinator, over each of those regions and everything. And Tim Burgess is our Western regional coordinator. And I know he would love to get some more people set up over there in his area, and we would as well, as we've said. So, yeah, go to fallobsession.com and fill out an application if you're from the West and you like producing outdoor content. So it'd be good to have you. Well, man, what else can we hit on before we wrap it up? It's hunting season. We're all busy, and I know I know I've talked about my experiences on Texas dirt here several times in the podcast. People are probably tired of hearing about that. But on that note, too, while I'm talking about Texas dirt, I do want to say I know we've been holding a lot of our episodes in our editing room, and again, part of that is attributed to the busy time of year and us kind of constantly being on the go. But the week that this episode is airing, you guys can expect, I think I'm going to call it our Texas Dirt Marathon. We're going to be dropping several new Texas Dirt episodes this week alone, and that's going to kind of help catch you up on the whitetail management strategies and stuff that we have going on down here, and then the actual hunts themselves. I'm looking forward to some of these episodes that y'all are going to see, because we do have some pretty cool footage of actual kills and stuff on camera now too. So if you guys are unfamiliar with the series, Texas Dirt, it's a whitetail management series. It's my kind of my baby down here in Texas. Myself and our production director Nick Powell. It's talking about our management strategies and our techniques and stuff that we're using on this whitetail property that last year we got on down here in Texas. Last year was season 1. Property's never been hunted before. We're starting from scratch. So if you want to learn a little bit about starting from scratch the hard way in Texas, then you can go watch us struggle through this series. But we're filming season 2 right now. We'll be dropping some new episodes very soon. They will be on the YouTube channel. Go subscribe, turn those notifications on, and they will also be streaming on Carbon TV like our podcast. So you can check them out on either one of those avenues. So you got anything else, Drew?
No, not right now.
Awesome. Well, I will, a shorter episode, I know, but I will take it to conclusion. I appreciate you guys listening to another Fall Obsession podcast. As we already said on that YouTube series and YouTube in general, go hit that follow and subscribe button there on YouTube. Notifications turned on. We publish multiple new videos every week. Trying to get more content relevant to the actual hunts and everything. And like I said, this Texas Dirt series on there, but our podcasts are also on there as well. The podcast videos, we publish them on the YouTube channel as well. So you can go check them out on there. All of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, go wild. Go follow, subscribe, like, do all the good stuff on there. And we post daily on those pages as well with that hunting and outdoor content relevant to your areas, as we already mentioned earlier. fallobsession.com is our website. That's the hub. All of our content runs through there, and that's where you guys can go and explore around and find us covering literally hundreds of different topics at this point in the hunting and outdoor industry. Video series, gear reviews, wild game recipes, educational videos, and articles, podcasts. We got it all on there. So head over to fallobsession.com and explore. There is still time, if you're listening to this podcast when it first came out, to get your Christmas orders in if you want to get some hunting and outdoor apparel for those Christmas gifts or stocking stuffers, whatever it might be. We still have some items left that are in high demand right now, including our new leather patch hat that we just came out with. Got a couple of those left, but order before December 15th if you want to be sure that you get it before Christmas. So last but not least, Ridge Rock Hunt Company, podcast partner, Derek and Lacey over there in Mississippi. They do a great job of booking hunts and setting folks up with vetted and trusted outfitters across the country. So if you're looking for that next hunting adventure that you might have been saving up for, or trying to figure out where you even start, where you even go, give Derek a call. Even if it is just to learn where you might go and how you get started, he will help you with that, help you with dates, costs, licensing, the whole process. He's a great guy over there, and takes some pride in his work and pride in setting you up with a good experience. So Ridge Rock Hunt Company, check out their website and their social medias. Drew, did I miss anything?
No, just I guess anybody listening to this, if you haven't yet, go donate to our family for BCE, and that just like you'd mentioned, December 15th, December 16th is our deadline for that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Head on over again on fallobsession.com and our social media pages. It should be all over that, and you guys will be able to find it and take you directly to that donation page. If you or a company or business that you own or know might be interested as well, like Drew said, it's that tax write-off. So head on over there and send in your donation. All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. Next week, look forward to it. Veteran Hunt Podcast, and we will catch you then.